Today's focus will be on accident sickness insurance. And some of you would probably refer to accident sickness as health insurance, which is, again, in some books you're going to see accident sickness, in some books you're going to see health insurance. Basically, it's the same definition. As you all know, every province and territory in Canada has some basic coverages that everybody in the country base is covered for. So, for example, in Ontario, we have the Ontario Health Insurance Plan. What the accident sickness insurance is designed to do really is basically top up your provincial coverage. So it really is an add-on to the provincial coverage. And there are a number of key areas that they in fact cover. The first one, of course, is extended health care. Most of you are probably familiar with the fact that, again, with your provincial plans, you get your basic coverage. With your extended health care, you can actually go one step further. So, for example, if provincial coverage gives you basically the ward, you might say, in a hospital, with the extended health care benefit, you can get semi-private or even private coverage, ambulance service, prescription drugs, private duty nurses, things of that nature. They're all listed actually in the book. So that is basically an increase in benefit that over and above whatever the provincial authorities cover. The second one that obviously covers is travel insurance. Again, many of you who have traveled anywhere outside of Canada would have bought travel insurance. Once again, it's designed to really basically augment whatever the province would have paid you had you actually been disabled or sick in that particular province. So basically, with the travel insurance, as it sort of adds on, once again, to whatever the basic coverage would be. On top of that, there are some other provisions. For example, if you become disabled while you're traveling, obviously we have to bring you back into Canada. You need special care for that kind of thing. What if you die while you're traveling? Again, you've got to pay for repatriation of the body. Very, very expensive proposition as well. So there, again, there's a number of different things that are listed. Once again, please refer back to your notes and everything else in the book. They'll give you more and more detail. The next one is prescription drugs. Most of you have probably, again, at some point or other, have had to go to a drugstore and basically purchase some prescription drugs. There are two kinds of plans on a prescription drugs, and this is an important thing for you to remember. There's what we call a reimbursement plan. In this situation where you, in fact, pay the pharmacist basically out of your own pocket at that point, and then you take the receipt, whatever, the claim form, and you actually claim it into the insurance company. You send it to the insurance company, and they, of course, will reimburse you for whatever you're entitled to. Most plans today are the second one, which is what we call the pay direct plan. A pay direct plan basically is you have a little card. Some of you probably have a little card sitting in your wallet right now, which basically says, these are the things that I'm covered for. So when you go to your pharmacist, you give them the actual card, and they actually charge it against that particular card. So you don't actually have to really pay out any money from your pocket at all. It's just automatically adjudicated right there on the spot. So that's the end of that basically. So these are the three basic ones. Further to that, again, I'm sure most of you are familiar with, of course, is your dental. The dental plan, there are a number of different things that are covered now, so I urge you to actually go to your notes and make sure that you read each one of them. Today, what we're going to talk about is the first one, and that is what they call the basic preventative. And the reason I want to talk about that is that all dental plans must have at least the basic coverage. So basic coverage will cover things, for example, like examination, consultations, x-rays, fillings, anesthesia. In other words, really it's very basically a preventative care is really what you're talking about. Now, there's a whole bunch of other ones which we won't go into, but once again, please go into your Advantage book and basically look at all the things that are covered under the dental plan. But you must know the basic preventative. Usually they ask you a question on the exam on that as well. The next one is AD&D, a very, very popular, very common type of thing. AD&D stands for accidental death and dismemberment. So this situation basically that if, for example, you had $500,000 of AD&D and you died of an accident, then what they will do is will pay you off $500,000. Remember, it has to be an accident. In other words, there's all kinds of exclusions here. So you may have to look at those exclusions. So, for example, war, whether declared or undeclared, suicides, for example. If you were caught in a criminal act, for example, and you died as a result of that criminal act. So there's a whole list of exclusions that apply here. So please make sure, once again, you go into your notes and you go through those exclusions. But basically what it does is that if you died of an accident, you will get paid the amount that you actually purchased. Also, if you don't die, you have that accident, but you don't die, there's also a dismemberment component. In other words, you didn't die, however, you lost an arm, a leg, a foot, a hand, whatever the case may be. Okay, there usually comes a chart, you might say, that has a list of all the various different, you might say, body parts, if you want to call it that. And it basically then will tell you. So, for example, a rule of thumb is that if you lose 2 of anything, you get the full amount. So if you bought $500,000 and you lost 2 legs, for example, or an arm and a leg, you'd get $500,000. If you only lost 1 leg, let's say 1 arm, it would be $250,000, and so on. In any case, there is a table. The important thing is that there is a table, but once again, it has to be due to an accident, and don't forget all those exclusions as well. The other thing to remember about AD&D is that you have to succumb to your injuries within 365 days of the actual accident happening. So basically what we're saying is, from the time of the accident, add on 365 days. If you die in between that time, or if you do in fact lose a part of your anatomy or anything, they will cover you. After 365 days, you'll be considered a natural death, and so therefore this will not pay out. So it is important to remember that 365-day provision. The next one is what we call deductible. And another lesson we'll actually be talking a little more detail on deductible. But at this moment, deductible basically, you might say, is a load. In other words, it reduces your actual amount of money that you get, your refund, your claim. So if you have a $300 claim and you've got a $100 deductible, you're not going to get $300. You're only going to get $200. So we actually reduce the amount of claim. The other thing that's conjunction with the deductible, of course, is the co-insurance. This you might look at it, this is more like a fee, which is an ongoing, and this is always after the deductible. Once again, we're going to be doing this in another lesson. I'll give you more detail at that point. And the last thing that's usually added in your health insurance is critical illness and long-term care. And once again, there will be another lesson for this later on, but suffice to say at this point that there is critical illness available in health insurance plans, and there's also long-term care available in health insurance plans.